Previously, in Doraken. The night was slowly ending, as Sir Jace, Aurora and Naeris returned back to the camp, having just assassinated Commander Mara. Eos was no longer with them, as he was summoned back once more to the pits of hell, as the heroes made their way back from the late Burgomaster's home. Inside the camp at Crone's Hill, the Hounds of War were introduced to Ian Forrester, a monster hunter from the Blackwing Science. The heroes decided to rest for the night and planned their next step the following morning with the other leaders of the resistance. Meanwhile, Davree, Casimir and Anastasia teleported back to Delta Bay, all of them appearing just a couple of feet above Aurora's bed, who just in the nick of time managed to roll out of the way as they came crashing down. Before Casimir left Aurora's tent, the tiefling told him that she had witnessed his childhood when she had cut him with the magic blade, Mindrender. Casimir remained calm, but they both agreed to have this be a secret among girls. The next day, the Hounds of War and Delta Bay's resistance came up with a plan for the final rebellion against the forces of Caracas. Under cover of the night, a small task force led by Naeris would stealth their way on board the docked ships in the middle of the night, defeat the station guard, and use the cannons to suppress the enemy forces when their rebellion finally started. Meanwhile, one part of the resistance would occupy the land between the barracks within the swamp and Delta Bay, cutting off the main forces of the enemy. Finally, the Hounds of War would signal the final battle by ringing the town bells, and afterwards seek out and slay the last superior officers within town, namely Major General Horman Klaus, the bodyguard Tredrax the Green Death, and Duke Blah the Primal. To accomplish this goal, Ian and Wilbur were placed atop Davree's magic instant fortress, there to serve as snipers. The plan succeeded, and both the attendant officer and his bodyguard arrived at the town square on the steeds, with the Hounds of War soon joining the fight. The tide of battle swayed back and forth. Tredrax the Green Death was slain, but soon after, Ian was knocked out. Then when the Ettin's Triceratops steed was defeated, it revealed its true form, Duke Blah the Primal. Shortly after, Horam and Klaus gravely wounded both Scrawny Blake and Sura, but fortunately Blake managed to drag both of them inside his magic rose cottage. But he failed to save Sura, who succumbed to her wounds and died. In what some would describe as foolishness, and others as bravery, Blake charged Duke Blah and pinned him down. Horam and Klaus met their end when Sir Jace cleaved the giant in two with his Frostblade cantrip. With no obstruction in the way, Aurora rushed to Ian's side and resuscitated him with a healing potion. Then Davree descended from the sky on Anastasia and used his magic lance to stab Duke Blah in his shoulder to the point that the druid's arm came off. Finally, Ian took aim and did not miss his shot, as an arrow pierced the back of Duke Blah's head, ending his reign over Delta Bay forever. The Hounds of War then boarded the Sky Nomad, and among the clouds, they witnessed the victory of the rebels as the last enemies were either slain or captured. 3 days pass, as the resistance root out any spies or Kraken sympathizers, gather the dead, and initiate the rebuilding of Delta Bay. On the 4th day, soft rain falls, and a faint rainbow slowly emerges between white clouds in the blue sky. We see our heroes stand near the graveyard within Crone's Hill. The brave men and women who gave their lives for the freedom of Delta Bay are displayed on a long white fabric, their appearance more that of restful sleep rather than death. We see Casimir grit his teeth as he cradles the body of Sura, tears streaking his face. But to truly understand his grief, we need to go back 12 years in time. In a seedy bar in Middle Gorge, we see a slaver drag a small hobgoblin girl in chains. Here they meet Dimitri Sorik, the father of Casimir, who pays the slave a hefty sum of coin and in return is handed over the chain before the slaver leaves again.
Your purpose in life is to protect my child. Fail or disobey, and your life is forfeit. Understood?
Dimitri's voice is cold and monotone, but there's a stern expression that could make a grown man cower in fear. However, the young Sura simply nods, no longer able to cry over her cruel fate. In Delta Bay, we see Sura introduced to Casimir, only at this point in time, he was Katriana Sorik, the eldest daughter of Dimitri. In the coming years, we see how the bond between Casimir and Sura grows stronger. Time and time again, Sura is there for Casimir when he needs her the most. We see her comfort him when Casimir's mother finally dies from the illness that had drained away her life, until all that remained was a husk of the incredible woman she had been. We see Casimir slay his own father when he learned that Dimitri had tried to force himself on Sura. We see Sura support Casimir when he finally realized the man he was supposed to be and not the woman he was born as. And we see Sura be there for Casimir when he heard the terrible news. Both his brother and sister had died during the invasion of Delta Bay, giving their lives so their brother could escape. All these moments are crystal clear in Casimir's mind as he holds Sura's body. And we see him break. He releases a wordless howl at the world and the cruel gods that allowed all this suffering to happen. And yet, his sorrowful story is but one out of hundreds. So much death and pain. And for what? So that Caracas may rule all over Trineworld. Victory sometimes ring hollow for the steep price that is needed to pay. So, as mentioned previously, you are standing at the graveyard. You see Casimir essentially emotionally break down. And there are a lot of death. The given total at this point in time is about 750 people. Most of them are unknown to you, but you do know that a couple of the resistance leaders were also lost. There was of course Hannah Westmarch, who were assassinated prior to the actual rebellion. There was Sua Dragas, who lost her life during the fight against the Blar, who Blake saw fade away. And then there was Nat the Vermin, who were escorting Naeris down to the docks when at some point they were intercepted by enemy forces, and he stayed behind in order to ensure that the mission could go forward. When people found him, he was still standing in the streets, his body pierced by several spears and his body turned to stone. And nevertheless, a wicked grin adorned his face, his whole body covered in blood, not his own, and just corpses of Karakan forces around him. There were of course also injuries during the battle, about 500 people, give or take. Kriana, who also assisted Naeris, lost 3 of her fingers on her dominant hand. Kellen Fischer has lost the sight on his left eye due to a mace directly to his face. Metal, the Warforged, took a fireball blast, so part of her face melted and now is covered by like this golden mask. And there's also Sophitia, the archer from the Burning Mace, who lost the left hand but now has it replaced by something vile and sinister created by Olivia. So what are you doing during this final rites before the dead are put to rest?
Actually, I just need to check something.
Certainly.
How much gold do I have?
How often can you cast cantrips?
As many times as you want.
Want to Druidcraft something?
Yeah, actually, I was just thinking, Druidcraft, a lot of, blossoming flowers.
Yeah, but again, you have had 3 days prior to the actual...
Oh, when doing the ceremony,
Okay, yeah,
just, make sort of,
easily. Again, and you also have a whole druid tribe who can assist you, so yeah.
Just to sort of make this...
These reefs, or...
Yeah, but also, this sort of upgraded, you came from Earth, and you'll become Earth, and bring new life, help bring some
Yeah, certainly. You have some
flowery life to the scene.
So you take some inspiration from the rites used in your tribe in Calibro.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, makes total sense.
I will walk over to Sura's body.
Yeah.
Take out 2 gold coins.
Yeah.
Kiss them each and place them on her eyes.
Okay.
Maybe I should be with you.
And Casimir, who has placed it down again, and just stoic stares at her. Completely oblivious of your presence at this point.
Yes. Put a hand on his shoulder. Give it a squeeze and then I leave.
And just the moment before you actually leave, you hear him just whisper to himself, "Why am I always the one standing?"
Turn back. The gods only do this to the strongest. Believe me, I know. Better than anyone.
I'm not strong.
Believe me, Casimir, to have done what you have done and to become who you are takes lots of strength. And then I leave.
And again, there are I don't know what, the wake follows afterwards. Sobs like this chorus throughout the whole ordeal. And of course, those who react differently, there are those who like cry out and howl, and there's those who are like, well, we need to get back to work because they need to do something, anything rather than stay here and face the facts. And you're essentially like left alone because people know that you have like shouldered so much responsibility that it wouldn't be fair towards you to put any more burden on you. And you don't know whether or not it's some of the other resistance members like Kellen who's like, give them space, or they said it most likely. So you are essentially left alone inside the tent that is reserved for you guys.
I need a quick reminder or something, because I don't have my notes. Originally we didn't come for this city alone. We had some other purpose, something with the Witch Queen, but I cannot recall what the clue was that I wanted to follow there.
Well, the clue about the Witch Queen was the fact that she is involved with the whole Doraken war. Essentially, she is the puppet master.
Okay.
People previously thought or assumed that King Tyrek Blackshield, the ruler of Caracas, is the one responsible for all this. But maybe he's just a puppet, maybe he's an ally. Nobody knows.
Alright. But the Witch Queen was the same as the one that had, was the Hex Wars?
Yeah, exactly. She is the tyrannical previous ruler and last monarch of Greydale.
Right. Alright. Sorry.
Yeah, we can do it. Totally fine. It's been a while.
Yeah. And I don't have my notes. I only have spoic trees.
And again, usually people also among your party react differently. Blake is clearly affected by the fact that he saw Sura die in his arms. It's never easy, no matter veteran adventurer you are. You also notice that, for instance, like Puddles, the life spirit, seems to have aged. Previously he looked like an infant, now he looks more like a child.
And the people from the Burning Maze, they're still here.
They made it clear that they're going to leave. Fenian probably will say his final goodbye as Fenian and not as his secret or fake identity in Marmana.
Yeah.
So I'll be going. I'll be in contact with you. Anything you want me to investigate while I'm at the Burning Maze?
Naeris?
If you hear anything about that corruption in my homeland...
yeah, that's right.
They didn't respond very well when I asked, so if you could learn anything...
They're demon worshippers. I don't think you should expect much. But yeah, again, what was it? Samuel? We were going to investigate? Again, I can reveal. I can't recall his last name, but
some Samuel Rodonis demon summoner.
Yeah, exactly. He was like the lead summoner within the cult, and he seems to be somehow involved with the corruption. So, I'll try to find out whether or not this was involved, and of course his locations. And you see that Davree, he takes a page from the Book of Sending. And rips out a page and gives it to Fenian so he can actually use it to inform you if he learns anything.
Oh yeah, that's a good idea.
That's smart.
Okay, stay safe.
You too.
You see Fenian.
And he starts to leave out. And regarding Kuru, Major General Kuru, are you going to let the Burning Maze take him with them? Or...
Oh yeah!
Because that is Olivia's intention. Whether or not you are going to allow that, that's up to you guys.
I actually thought that would be for the citizens to judge the guy. I mean, just he was one of the generals who had captured the city, right?
Yeah,
and the Burning Maze came from without. They were
They are essentially leading the fight in, I believe it's Runedale.
Right. Okay, but I mean, he was causing problems in Delta Base.
He was essentially...
it would be fair reasonably you could say that it would be fair that the citizens...
Yeah, again, because he was essentially the spy master of Dubois, but also the brain of the operation.
Yeah.
Well, if they plan to take him, like, why?
That's a good question.
Well, you don't know yet.
I'm gonna storm over there.
Yeah.
Boom!
And you see, it was like, I think we have all prepped and ready, and you just, the tent just... Oh, greetings, Manly.
Hi. Why are you gonna say Crone?
Oh, my leaders wanted to interrogate him further.
For what?
I don't know yet. I'm simply given the missions and I need to oblige. But you can get that, right?
No, because I'm my own boss. Do what I want.
Oh, unfortunate.
But why would you need the spy master?
Well,
we've obliterated what was left of their army.
Yes, but we still have the whole other parts of the Kraken army to deal with. Currently, both Whitholm and Runedale are under siege. We need every advantage we can get.
That makes sense. Would you give us note of anything if you find out something?
Yes, certainly. I know the sending spell. I know you by now, so...
Insight check.
Yeah, certainly.
That bitch. Insight. No, I do not cite the inn. Not 3. Unless you critically fail.
Yeah. No, she seems genuine. You can see
really?
she's a bit taken aback by the whole hostile. Before you were like, oh my god, you need to teach me how to torture people. And now you're like, what the fuck are you doing? But otherwise she's like...
Ever-changing.
like throughout the whole encounter with her, she has always been like pleasant, talking, forthcoming and so forth. With the exception of now, it's like, are you involved with the corruption? And like, no, I don't know nothing about the corruption.
Wasn't that something that happened when we also had that zone of truth?
Yeah. Well, you were the only one who didn't play it.
Not affected, but I just tell the truth anyway.
Yeah, that narrows his weak point. Yeah, so...
No, I was just thinking, if you were up to something.
Me?
You never trust anyone these days.
Well, that is a good mind to have at this point. Dangerous time to rely too much on anyone.
Good. It just caught my attention. Goodbye.
And you see Crew like as he just gets stuffed down into the bag of holding again. Yeah. So that's essentially that part. The funeral completes. Day turns to night. I don't know if you want to do anything before next morning.
Let me just take a look at something here. Then I'll give you an answer. I just looked over the suggested things that we could do today, and 8 Jays, 8 Naeris, 8 Monry, continue the war effort, or claim the rewards for saving Delta Bay and go on a shopping spree.
Like, before we go anywhere, I need some coin.
But
yeah, and you also need
suggestion.
Yeah.
Claim the reward and go on a shopping spree.
Also, you're like missing like spell components for revival spells and so forth. So.
And I need
but
money.
that would be back in Soaring, right?
That's correct. And you have access to the airship. You can also teleport with your spell if you prefer. Again, up to you.
It might be a good idea to return to Soaring.
I need stuff.
Of course.
I need things.
Of course.
I need to seduce the Empress. Important things.
Yeah, certainly. Again, I'm going to tell you all right now.
Yeah.
There's not going to happen anything if you take the airship visit if you prefer.
Alright, I think we'll just take the airship. Yeah. I mean, we could just make them sail through the night. Or,
you can just tell Captain Rayleigh to start flying, and she will do so.
Well, I'm taking the executive decision. We're going back to Sokai.
It makes sense. And again, you get up, and Captain Rayleigh is like, "Sup?" And
objections? Nope.
Yeah.
Right.
And essentially, the rest of the party have just drunken into a stupor, just drinking their sorrows away. And when they wake up, it's like, oh shit, we're moving.
Yeah.
So about
before we go,
yeah,
we'd like to say goodbye. Leave a note for Casimir.
Yeah.
Telling him that if he ever finds himself in Soaring or in trouble in general, to find us. And also leave. No, nothing else. No, it's good. I also think that Davree would have a talk with Casimir.
Yeah, again, I imagine they'll do things like that, and we'll get that incorporated later on. But yeah, you walk onto that ship, and due to the fact that you're flying a straight course, it doesn't take as long as previously. You have to take the whole deal route to Jotunheim and so forth. So you are in the Empire within 4 or 5 days, essentially. So if you want to do anything like that before you arrive, that's fine. Otherwise, we just...
Just a question, because I'm not sure how it works, and it's not something that I want to do now, but I did buy at some point that block of never melting ice.
That was for your scrying.
Yes, I could do scrying. I mean, I suppose I could still check in on Casimir, for example.
Yeah.
Without it necessarily being him, thinking, why are you here again?
Well, essentially, a creature can try to make a save in order to realize that it's getting scribed.
Okay, that's good.
But yeah, again, and you go to make it
for the city.
Yeah, you can make it for various locations.
I can keep an eye on the on things.
Yeah. While we're on board,
Wait, actually, sorry. Can I?
Oh no.
No, I was just wondering, could I potentially scry Fenian?
Yeah.
While he's with the burning mace, and then only he would know that I'm doing it.
Yeah, because it's also target, I believe.
But I would only see some.
Unless they have see invisibility, because then they can see like this wall or eye. But yeah, you can otherwise know that you will be unnoticed.
Interesting.
And I'm going to say you can also inform Fenton of this, so he won't be like, what the fuck?
Oh yeah, I would have told him that I might
cool. Well, because my printer is working again, I actually have made this sheet. Here's all the crew members, in case you ever forget that and so forth.
I have them written down now.
Oh, they have pictures.
Yeah, because they also have special abilities.
Oh, yeah, they do. We just need to befriend them.
Yeah.
Shelby.
Oh, hi guys.
We went through a lot of trouble to get him out of
of
prison.
And only because his name was Shelby.
Yeah.
He's staying with us for a long time. Nice. Right.
I have seen that.
But yeah, you are flying. It's an easy trip. No problems around.
As we fly,
you have a bit like trying to accustom to new things. Like, for instance, that Calibrite has now claimed skeletal wyvern as a familiar somehow.
Oh yeah.
Which I imagine that Davree is a bit like
still a paladin. Still a paladin.
Yeah, essentially like.
Still.
I'm gonna smite that at some point.
Well, as we fly during nighttime, I would like to practice my shadow leap and such. And perhaps I will have talked to Sura and perhaps gained some insight into how she does her things and learned some tricks and such.
Again, it's a
narrative decision why my dex is up at 20 now.
Again, because while she do use some of the same arts, it is a different school that she has learned. So you learn a different way to move, better and more agile.
Yeah.
And so cool.
Oh, and we definitely left a note if Eos returned there.
Yeah, of course.
That's what I forgot. Woof.
So you arrive within Somakai,
I've spent the entire journey catching up with Ray of the Mouth.
Again, he tells all you about story. Then I saw
good boy.
Again, and he tells you all these interesting stories, and then I smelled this thing, and it was completely different than this thing I smelled. Thanks for listening. The intro music was by Fischer, whereas the outro music was by Martin Kerr. The other pieces which are mentioned in the description down below were by Kevin MacLeod. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we hope to see you again in Doraken.